This week on Jersey Matters, former Deputy Chief of Staff for Governor Chris Christie has a lot to say about Bridgegate and her campaign to be the new Bergen County Clerk. We'll hear from Bridget Kelly. We'll also talk with 73-year-old former New Jersey Senator Diane Allen, who is coming out of retirement to run for Lieutenant Governor. And now that marijuana is legal, what do you do with all of those pot-finding police dogs? Hello, and welcome to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Menti. Her name has become synonymous with Bridgegate. The state ordered closing of lanes at the George Washington Bridge in 2013 that caused a major traffic jam in Fort Lee, New Jersey. Bridget Kelly was 9 days away from going to prison for the scandal when the Supreme Court overturned her conviction. Bridget Kelly is now the Republican nominee to run for clerk of Bergen County, and she has a lot to say about Bridgegate. Thank you so much for doing this. I wanted to read a headline that I came across when I was doing research for the interview that jumped out at me, and I think it explains a lot of what you're going to be going through as you run. It's from NBC in New York. It says, former Bridgegate villain Bridget Kelly is running for elected office in New Jersey. And the word villain was used in a couple of other headlines, most notably WPIX in New York. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's disgraceful. I think, anyone that paid attention to Bridgegate knows that there were so many other people who were named and involved, but they've all seemed to have gotten a pass. The irony, Larry, is that I'm the only female that was named and charged, and I'm the one that's labeled a villain. There's, David Wildstein, who is, a self-proclaimed journalist, gets all sorts of politicians on his TV, on his radio show and whatnot every week, and I'm the villain. He pled guilty. I took this to the United States Supreme Court because I knew I was innocent. So, that's unfortunate, but that's, the media does what they do. That's a headline, but it's not who I am.
Why was Chris Christie never implicated in it?
Well, he was implicated. I think his name was said more than any other name in the trial. Somebody did a count, and the number of times his name was mentioned was crazy.
Let me correct myself. Let's make it, why was he not charged?
That's, that the former U.S. attorney was not charged. So I was charged by the U.S. attorney's office, and I would just leave it at that. That was their choice.
I think it's fascinating that you're not running away from this. You're not avoiding it. You didn't say to me, but don't bring this up during the interview. You've been very open about it. As a matter of fact, you seem to be embracing it, because on your Facebook page, you're saying, and I'm going to paraphrase, was Bridget Kelly a scapegoat for Chris Christie? If you believe so, contribute to me. To some, that was an odd choice, but do you see it as a strength?
I think it shows my character. I think, Larry, I was offered a plea deal back in late 2014, early 2015. And that was to plead guilty to something I didn't do. So, we have children, right? And so do you teach your children to do the right thing? The right thing was to fight this. And the right thing was to take on the bullies. And for me, I wasn't about to say to my kids, you know what, I'm going to take the easy way out. I'm going to plead guilty to something I didn't do, and then this will all go away. That's not what we're about. That's not how I've raised my children. So what I needed to do was to fight this, because I know that I was not wrong in the merits of for what I was charged. So, and I didn't do anything criminally wrong. So I'm owning it, Larry, so that it takes the elephant out of the room. I'm happy to talk about it. I say to people all the time, call me. I am as an open book as can be. They vilified me for right after the email came out. Within 6 weeks, Chris Christie commissioned and had a report called the Mastro Report. And it was a $13 million taxpayer funded report that basically laid Bridgegate at my feet, saying that I had a broken heart and I closed the lanes of the bridge. Called me an emotional woman. It's fascinating, but I I was never going to run from this. I think my life would be a lot different if I had to go away to prison. That was a terrible time for my family, but I took it to the United States Supreme Court and we won unanimously. So yeah, I'll own it and I'm not going to run from it.
Yeah, you won unanimously, and they said that it was prosecutorial overreach and you shouldn't be charged with fraud or wiretapping, that none of that made any sense. But when they came down with the ruling, they did say that even though you didn't do anything criminally wrong, they mentioned corruption. They said not all political corruption is criminal. They wrote that in their opinion. So
Yeah.
do you own up that you did something wrong?
I didn't do anything wrong. I used a very poor choice of words, but there was a story before that email was sent, and there was a story before, during, and after. So I wouldn't say that I'm not going to own anything other than a very poor choice of words in an email. And my biggest crime, Larry, was to trust people.
So was it political retribution? The lane closure?
I would say not on my part. I think that there was a lot going on above my pay grade. And the more and more people I talk to now, the stuff I hear about Bridgegate, who, didn't open their mouth or whatnot, there was a lot more going on than Bridget Kelly's email.
I'll get off of Bridgegate in a second. I just
No,
want
it's okay. Larry, I'm happy to talk about it.
I know, and I give you credit for that. That's it's not only it's wonderful of you, it's brave of you, it's smart of you. And so I do want to ask one question. When you were first going to be charged, it seemed like Governor Christie was more than willing to let you and Bill Baroni take the blame for all of this.
Yes.
He was throwing you under the bus.
Mm-hmm.
When the ruling came out, he claimed that was exoneration for everybody, including him. What was your reaction to that?
So we went down for the oral argument down to the United States Supreme Court, and we, meaning my family and I and my children and my attorneys. And he was on the same train, former Governor Christie. And then I get to the court and he's sitting in front of me with his wife. And I had to laugh because I thought to myself, are you kidding me? First of all, the case says Kelly versus the United States of America. He wanted no part of this for so long. And then the ruling comes down and it was a complete exoneration. So I laughed. I hope he had a harder time seeing me than I did seeing him. I fought this. He didn't. He ran from it. So, that's on him.
Now, running for clerk of Bergen County, is your hope that if you win, that's the start of a new career and you can finally put this behind you?
I will never so I bought a book at one point when I wasn't sleeping in the middle of the night during all this chaos. And I bought it at CVS and it says how to get through what you will never get over. I will never get over Bridgegate. I will never be able to put Bridgegate behind me. It did too much damage to my kids and to just our family and our livelihood. But me running for clerk, it is the ultimate customer service role. It's the ultimate administrative role. That's what I loved about my job. I loved getting answers for people, even if it was an answer that they didn't agree with or that they wanted yes and they got no. So for me, I'm not really looking to rebrand myself. I'm going back to a world where I'm asking the voters to take me back because no one else in elected office or otherwise were brave enough to take me back. I went to a lot of people and said, listen, my case was overturned. Can you bury me somewhere? Can you please help me get back in so that I have a job, I have health benefits, but I could be a public servant again. And the feedback was they were all scared of Christie. So when the party came to me and said, we'd love you to do this, I said, who better to put me in public office than the people of Bergen County?
Not only did you win the Republican primary, you got more votes than anybody running for clerk in the state of New Jersey.
Yes.
That had to feel good.
It did. It was a little humbling. I'll tell you, I wasn't able to vote for so long because of my conviction. And when my conviction was overturned, the first time I was able to vote in person, I walked into the booth and there was my name. So there was something a little bittersweet about that, but it felt very good.
If the campaign goes on like it started, it's going to be an ugly campaign. I'll give you a couple of quotes from the incumbent Democrat, John Hogan, who made his announcement for re-election, called you deplorable and said you running is embarrassing. Are you ready for this?
Listen, John Hogan isn't Chris Christie. John Hogan isn't the, United States of America, U.S. Attorney's Office. I can handle it. If John Hogan, who has been in office for 11 years, wants to talk about Bridgegate, not his record, I'd ask John Hogan what his point is of running again.
Explain that answer a little bit more.
Sure. I would think an incumbent would talk about their record. They wouldn't look to bash their opponent in the way that he's bashing me. If he wants to get into Bridgegate, which I think everyone's tired of, I'm happy to debate it. I'm happy to talk about it. But this isn't about Bridgegate. This is about public service. And I think that, my opponent's kind of running from his record because he really doesn't have one. And this story is ripe for the picking, but I'm happy to talk about it. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Fort Lee, Larry, for the past 2 weeks, and it's not easy, but every time I go there, the reception is so warm and people are so kind. And they say to me, Bridget, there was a lot of traffic that week. Yes, but we see that kind of traffic a lot. So we know there's more to this. So my reception's been so favorable that I also think John Hogan knows that he actually has a real election ahead of him, which is okay.
It is interesting that he came right out of the box attacking you. That to me, I would think that if that someone that has been in office for that long,
right,
would be able to ignore the candidate running against them because they knew they had it in the bag. That doesn't seem to be the case.
Correct. I don't believe so. And listen, I'm going to work hard. There's nothing I'd like to do more than talk to people and to meet people. So this has been such a wonderful experience for me. But more importantly, I'm out there and I am, ask me any questions and I'm ready to answer them. So I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm obviously, emotionally, a lot of it's hard. It's hard to relive. But, I'm not doing this without my kids being behind me 100%. And I am totally 100% committed to this. So that's where I am.
Well, good luck to you. Would love to have you on again as it gets closer. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Larry.
Republican candidate for clerk in Bergen County, Bridget Kelly. Still to come on Jersey Matters, New Jersey Congressman Andy Kim and his upcoming vote on 2 bills totaling almost $5 trillion.